Good morning! It's Saturday, and I'm finally getting a chance to play with all my coffee toys for the weekend. I've got a lot of really cool things that I'm playing with here on the bar, but what I'm most excited about is this, the Fellow Espresso Series 1. I got to play with it a little bit at World of Coffee, and I've been playing with it, making coffee for the last, I don't know, about 3 or 4 weeks here, and I'm very impressed with it. It's really cool. There are definitely some quirks. It's not perfect, but the software has been making it better, which I think is a huge improvement. I mean, I've seen big improvements on a lot of things, but most importantly, I haven't really seen any pictures online or videos online of people trying to take one of these things apart. So I'm very curious to dive inside, and I read on the Reddit forums that this has like 50 to 60 screws to get into the inside, so that's a little intimidating. Maybe not meant for everyday repairs. But I'm curious, and I think I don't know what we'll find inside. It might just be a black box with nothing really exciting to see, or it could be very cool. So let's dive in. Let's see what this thing is able to, what it looks like inside. But the fact that it can do some of the things that some of the most expensive coffee machines in the world can do is awesome. And it does a lot of what the very expensive machines can't do. Like La Marzocco's don't really do the level of interesting profiling this can do, at least not in most of the machines. Let's dive in, let's take a look, and let's see what we find. So now we've got the machine here on the table, and underneath this sort of rubber mat, which is like kind of your warming tray area, we've got some screws here, kind of along the top. You can see this red case is attached to a few pieces here, but obviously there's more screws because they don't continue onto this side. This is where the water tank goes. And maybe these are helping hold in the group. I don't know. These seem to be connected to the piano keys, but I believe most of the screws that we're going to need to get access to are on the bottom of the machine. So let me pull this over. Get some towels here just to sort of not scratch anything up. This side of this beautiful case is so nice. I don't want to mess that up, but I'm going to go ahead and tilt this up. It's not very heavy, which is nice. It's a big improvement. I guess these more home type machines, and give it a nice little brushing. But here's the bottom of the machine here. So we can see we've got quite a lot of screws, if you can see this along the perimeter here of the machine. So just here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 screws just on the bottom. So let's start to get these open and see what we find down here. This seems to be connected, this little plate here seems to be connected to the drip tray area here. So here's the exhaust port for the drip tray, and then I've seen online that this is the screw to relieve the boiler. So there probably is still some residual water in here, of course, but that's how we would release the boiler, and this seems to be our exhaust screw here. And again, I can't tell if you can see that. There we go, that's a little bit better light. But right there is our exhaust port, and that's, I think, where the solenoid is coming out of, and where we're bleeding into our drip tray. And then down here, this is our, while you're down here, you might as well see the orientation. This is our water spigot, so this is where hot water's coming out. There are definitely some issues happening with that right now, but it will be fixed. I'm pretty confident of it. Kind of a very beautiful piece of, it looks like brass here in the group, and then our gasket and a nice flat screw shower screen there too. So lots of cool features, but let's see if we can get a little bit deeper by opening up this bottom down here. Given how many screws there are, we're gonna go a little electric here because it's a lot to get to. Adjust this up here. guess this one's still connected, so. Uh-oh. And that's how you drop a screw. Okay. Oh, I think I have one more that I forgot down here. Okay, I don't know if we're supposed to put this upside down, but let's see what we find here as we try to open this up. Oh, I got one. They're black screws, so I am missing them as I'm pulling this thing apart. Okay. I think that was 14 screws. And I'm thinking this is the part we're getting off here. Again, I hope I didn't. There we go. Okay. Plate is off. This is the bottom plate. 14 screws, but not terrible. This is the mechanism. I'll try to get zoomed in here a little bit. So bottom case is off, and this seems to be, this is the mechanism. It's pretty clever, where you can feed back your power cord, and it seems to scoop up and assemble in here. We obviously have, this seems to be, oh, I see now. We have two exhaust ports, so I can't tell if this one is, so now that I'm seeing it from this angle, I had told you about this exhaust port here. You can see that. But there seems to also be one up here, I'm feeling on this side. So definitely we're getting exhaust into the machine, into the drip tray from both angles. And I can see one of these is here, which I imagine this is a smaller port. So one of these might be from our solenoid valve. And this is obviously our water pump up here. So this is water inlet. And over here might be from our OPV or something. I need to see all that, of course. And here's our power termination port. We're getting some interesting shapes here on the screws. They're no longer Phillips. I think we've got some, I don't know what, this might just be grooves. These seem to be a hex up here. We were at Phillips before. So I found a small T10 torque screw, and that's what I used to get those screws off the top, and then this plate seems to just come out. So what I'm starting to think is that these plates are kind of our frames in addition to the bottom base. And let me go ahead and do this bottom one for you too. But I think, I'm hoping that like if I'm able to get these off, I get now access to these torque screws up on top, which might be the things that are holding the plastic case in place, at least on this side of the machine. So I'm going to keep moving here. I might go from a top-down view because it might be a little bit easier to work from. I just want to make sure I don't. We have some water spillage here, so let me get that. Hey, it's definitely raw. We're definitely working in. We're figuring this out together. I hope that's okay. Definitely not like a pro approach here. I would love to flip it on its head, maybe leaning this over the machine. I just don't know if that will be stable enough, but it would probably be a little easier to work on. But then with the steam wand, I don't know. I don't really want to mess with it too much, but let me get these guys. This T10 torque drill bit is definitely helpful, and having the electric screwdriver or the drill here is just a game changer. I didn't actually get one of these until recently. I know there are better form factors than this, but gets the job done. Price is right. Okay. we have these two frames off. Now, I don't think, yeah, the machine's not feeling any less stable. I wonder if that's actually more just structural. And there are more of those below. So I'm gonna see, now this port here, I don't know what this is. And I don't wanna undo all of these in case, let me think about this. That's plumbed. So there's, unfortunately, with the way this is laid out here, my guess is that it is a bit of a pain. What we're gonna have to do is either remove this inlet, which I think we're gonna have to do in order to even feed this thing out of here. So all these screws seem to be identical, which is helpful, but my guess is, yeah, this is gonna pull off. And here we've got access to where our water comes in. This is our gasket for our water tank. And this is obviously a little pre-sediment filter, which is actually kind of cool to see. This is where water is coming through first and probably trapping any grit or grime before it makes its way into the system. So that's actually kind of helpful and cool to see. And I'm imagining we're gonna have to sort of slip that under and feed it through that little hole there. As for this guy, I get a little scared about disassembling all these pieces, but part of the experiment, eh? This is, oh, actually not too bad. Okay, that came off. And that came off. So that's actually fairly easy. And then there is a rubber grommet / gasket. So I'm keeping all of these pieces safe here. And I will be referring to my own video as I disassemble here. And then of course, I think this power cord here is actually gonna be pretty important. So this is our termination post for the power inlet. So for our power cord. And that's gonna be pretty important. This is what's keeping it in place. I think the good news is I think all of these are pretty standard, the Torx T10 pieces. That's helpful. And that's what we're gonna need to remove this case as well. So we're making our way. Man, there are a lot of screws. So I guess let's just keep going here on the screws. Don't have a magnetic screwdriver, but I will say, man, having this screwdriver is a godsend. I'm just trying to see if this is even loosening up at all. I think so. I think if we just keep going, we're gonna eventually pull the whole bottom plate off and get it to expose the inside is my hope. I don't know about that. I need to learn what that piece is before I get too excited there. I think we're starting to get looser. It's so hard to tell. I haven't counted all these yet. There's even one down there. You can see that. I might get my little magnetic pick tool. I have like a little pick. I might go grab that as we're getting deeper into some screws here that I hardly get access to. I have to really fish these out of here. Oh boy. That's helpful. Okay, still haven't come undone. So I'm trying to figure out like where else is there even an attachment here? doubt that's holding the whole case in place. I guess this could be something, so let's try this. Okay, that pulled off yet another piece. And there's another screw here. I have these magnets that I bought for taking off. See that? Oh yeah, this stick, that's good. These are used for pulling off the burrs off of the Legam P80. So that'll be helpful in case a screw gets stuck down there. Now, I have pulled off what appears to be every hex screw except for these two holding down the water port, and I still can't seem to be getting this thing off. Now I do wonder, could it be that now we're back to the top? Perhaps. I will keep this down here so I don't screw that up. But could the top now be playing a role? Perhaps. And if so, how and where? Or plastic here. I pulled it up. Let's pull these screws off. Ow, those are actually pretty sharp. Okay, what else could be holding that in place? We got that. I could pull this off. Let's see. This magnet's coming in very handy. So I do recommend you have a strong magnet available to help you lift these screws out. Let's get these out. Oh, these are different shapes. Okay, this is helpful to see. This seems to be less pointy. So at least this one down here seems to be a different shape. So important to know. And this also. So I think these two are like a little bit wider, blunter shape, if you can see that. Oop. Yeah, same. These are like sort of a different shape of screw here than we had in other places. Wow. And then this is a smaller one. Smaller there. So we got different shapes all over the place here. Still no clear luck. I guess we have to try our piano keys. You guys are learning with me, and I do take all responsibility for this machine. These have a pointy and flatter head. I feel like, are we getting anything off here? Okay, we got something. Oh boy. Okay, so piano keys. Piano key 1, which is coffee. Piano key 2, which is steam. Piano key 3, which is water. We finally got something disassembled here after all of those screws. Look at that bowl of screws. That is quite a lot to get to this stage. And we have a clip here, which is helpful to see. That might need like a little flathead to lift off and pop up. So let me get that ready. Okay, we got one thing. That's kind of pulled off. And I imagine there will be something similar over here. If only we can, oh, there seems to be something here. But that might still, so this case might be embedded in a place that's pretty hard to get to because we've unhatched here, which is nice to see the red, but it's still certainly attached somewhere at the bottom. Seems to be fully assembled, and although this piece here, where the group is, I can feel it mostly over here. Where was that? I just sort of, yeah, I guess where we just lifted off over the group head is probably our place where we're going to have the most access, but I think another clip must be here underneath this front panel. Unless I can find a place where the front panel comes undone. I just don't see that yet. So continuing to hunt. Okay, I'm going to turn it to its other side as we continue this quest to open this bad boy up. Excuse me. Now I'm going to see if I can zoom in here. I think you might be able to see here, but there are some small black clips in here that I think need to be unlatched. So I'm going to use my flathead here. Oh, let me try to get you the view. Okay, so there are tiny little black tabs that have given me the ability to start to get some lift off here. I need to see if there's any more around the shell or the body, but I think that helped open up a good part of it. Let's see if that's around the circumference or just there's something still on the other side, but I think we're getting good ability to open here. I'm going to quickly just take a quick peek. Trying not to get too much pressure there. Oh, I see another tab here. That's just a matter of pushing that and using that tab to pull up. Okay, there too. That's pulling. Let's see where else we might have a tab or some other holder in place. I don't see any others. So maybe this just requires a little force. Let's see. I'm not going too strongly. I'm just using my fingers just to wedge a little bit and see if that gives me a little something. There feels like there's still a little tightness I want to make sure, I'm going to pull these out here, because what I don't know is if this just needs to be loose to open up a little bit. That's the exhaust port. It's going to be hard to feed that in, but I don't know if that's holding us up at all. Not unexpected. So we got quite a lot of good release here on the left side of the machine if you're facing it. Putting it up here in the back. It's pulling up a little bit. And now I just got to see where we might be holding on here. But especially something along the front here feels tight. So let me keep investigating. So one of the most important factors to getting this thing off was this just pops out. Once these two screws are loosened, this pops out. There are a couple of tabs, or 3 tabs here. One, 2, 3 tabs. Let me see if I can zoom in there. Yeah, there's 3 tabs, and this seems to just feed right up into through the steam wand. And this gives us access to what looks like our compression, sort of a spring fitting on the ball joint, which is kind of cool. But most importantly, that's what gave us access to this final screw, which has been in my way, and I have not been able to get to take the final case off. So I guess if you're going to powder coat this thing, you do have to go for quite a ride. Oops. Wow. Oh, that's come in handy. The little magnet that keeps the tank shut helped to catch that screw. Okay, so now we really should be in a place to open this guy up. Let's see if that's true. We've got the case mostly up and off around the perimeter of the machine. Popped up out of here, and now I'm able to sort of wedge it up. So there might still be something connected here. Don't want to pull it too hard anywhere. I'm trying to be gentle with this thing. Oh, I see another little screw here. See if that's, oh yeah, that's connected. Okay, so we're getting some interesting feedback here on what's going on. Wow. I will hopefully not break that. Can I keep that there? But okay. Oh my goodness. This is a big deal. This has come off after all that work. We got that case off, and it is powder coated, and it's so well done. I mean, it's clearly from the black that they've given it this sort of candy spray paint, but that's how we would powder coat this guy. There's our main case, and as expected, it's still kind of a black box. It's just sort of a shell, and we're starting to make our way into things here. I'm seeing a little clip that I did actually kind of snap right there. Tiny little break. won't be a big deal, but not ideal. So don't make that mistake. I was pulling up, and this pulled the rim, the perimeter of this piece off, and then these look like they just wedge open as we get this piece off. And these all seem to kind of like assemble into one another. I think this screw here is pretty important as well. So it's going to be pretty hard to reassemble as we, and this is just, by the way, that one there, another one of these flatter ones. So there's going to be a whole couple hours, I think, spent on figuring that out. And okay, so this pulls this element out. There is a little bit of a electric controller here. I bet that, I wouldn't be surprised if that's related to a water sensor of some kind. Here's our water intake. So again, this is connected and sort of glued into our water reservoir inlet. But I'm going to try to move it to the side here much, but let's see if that helps for now. Yeah, we're going to get some other pieces and components that are still stuck here, including this guy. This is kind of probably interesting for people to see, is this sort of chromed effect around the group head. But this seems, I bet this, when we have that wobbling group head issue, which I've seen a few people online had, like as they're tightening their portafilter, this whole thing is moving, has some give. I bet these are the 4 screws, and they even have sort of a slot so that you can really get some torque on that and tighten it up. And we've got obviously some cables and sensors and things feeding in there. I think I'm going to go ahead and take these off here too, as I try to get even deeper. I'm going to as deep as I can get here to show you without obviously having to get, oh, see, each one of these is different too. So again, another flat on this side on the left, or to the right if you're facing it, but the closer to steam wand is the flatter screw, and then the sharper screw over to that side. So lots of different screws being used. And then this pulls off as well. And I feel like we have some more cabling attached here. So that looks to be our control. We're getting really close here, which is kind of cool. But let me see if I can zoom in there for you. So here is our control port. This is our communicator to our piano keys. It's got a good clip to not pull out. So basically it doesn't want us to do what we're doing. But yeah, there's a good lock on that, which I was able to pry off with a needle nose, or with a, with a flathead. Okay, so guys, we are starting to really pull this together. Let me give you a wider view. So here is our main case. These are where we have our piano buttons. This is the piece that fits underneath our steam wand and behind our group head. This is the sort of the shell that fits on top of our tank to fill our water. We've got our case, which we've walked you through. And now, for the first time, I'm very proud to show everybody the inside of the Fellow Espresso Series 1. Here we are. We've got obviously some connections feeding into our steam wand. And you can see the articulation here, which is so cool. A little bit of a spring to help with that action. There's a tiny little micro switch here. Let's see if I can get that in there for you. That tiny little micro switch that you can hear clicking on and off is what's actuating, allowing us to steam. And then as we park it back into our main position, that micro switch is what tells this good guy to purge. But obviously our connection probably telling us whether we have enough water level or if the water tank is making connectivity and conductivity. Our fill valve. Back here will probably be our vibratory pump. And sorry, right here, this is our vibratory pump, and this is the guy that's probably delivering all of our fun action, is my guess. As we get into this guy, look at how amazing this is. Okay, we're back. I was just trying to take some pictures because this is exciting. So here we've got a lot. You can see some of the labeling here even is kind of cute. If you can see that, let's see. Burp is probably my favorite. Drip. Fer, F-E-R. Fair, I don't know what the fair is. Steam. And hot water. So what is Fahrenheit? Maybe temperature? Probably temperature. That's really fun. Good job, Nick. And I'm gonna have to ask Tate to walk me through a lot of the other pieces. We can see it's very well labeled. It's actually beautifully labeled. You can see your neutrals, the fuses. It says fair, so I'm guessing that's maybe Fahrenheit, like temp probes at different parts. There's the group head cable here, so I'm imagining these are all of our hots, here are all of our neutrals. There's another fuse. And I know we have a couple of, we've got even more computer chip activity over here. We've got our display and a whole other set of computer interfaces here. This is our button dial, so I guess this is our main controller with quite a lot of information communicating, but that must be communicating between these two boards completely. So we have two completely separate systems. I heard Tate, Mazur, and Nick from Fellow both communicating about the two chipsets, so I think that's what we're dealing with here is we got our two chipsets. I think one deals a lot with like temperature and controllability, and the other is really about the thermal system, I think, but you guys, and maybe Tate can correct me if I'm wrong. And then in here, wow, just a lot of fun stuff. We've obviously got our boiler here, and it's thermally insulated. We've got some pieces, it looks like a solenoid, two solenoids here. I imagine one for the steam system. I bet it's, yeah, one here for steam is my guess, and one for fill. And there might be another solenoid for the exhaust port. Again, kind of hard to get in here. I could take all this apart even further. I know everyone online is like, do it! But man, I just don't, I have to assemble all this back together, which is a bit scary, but I bet we could, yeah, this looks like this comes off of its chassis, and then this whole metal section comes off. But I think for the sake of this, I'm probably going to stop here. Oh, what's really cool, you can see, I don't know, see if I can get some light on. Do I have ability to give you light? Okay, I've got the light on now. So yeah, you see that reflecting down there? That is our thermal heat that might be coming straight off of the straight out of the water outlet that goes into the boiler to help speed up the heating process, is my guess. Again, how all of this is interconnected, I think there's a good explainer online. But there are clearly, it's so tight in here, which is kind of why I don't want to spend too much time taking this part apart. I think we got a good view, but man, there's a lot going on in here to pull this off. So congratulations to Fellow and Nick and the team. But man, these are hot off the press. Is very cool. You can see the boiler. Let me see if I can read that to you. It says 120 volts, 1200 watt boiler there. And it looks like we've got, yeah, temperature probes and fill level probes, and obviously our power to it. Again, the solenoids, I don't know. Okay, this solenoid seems to be pointing toward the group. So maybe that's the brew solenoid. And one of those might be the fill solenoid, and there might be more going on. But yeah, it's going to be, my concern here is this is put together with almost no tolerance. Okay, there's the pump. So we can get the detail on the pump here, just like a off-the-shelf pump. 60 hertz, 120 volt little pump. Looks like something you'd find in a vibratory pump that you'd find in a Breville or DeLonghi or home machine. But yeah, guys, doesn't that look freaking cool? Okay, so what else am I finding? This is an ESP chipset, I believe. There we go, see if I can get that, there it is. I believe what Nick was mentioning when we met him is that this might be controlling the interface, the control screen, more of the software operation, updating firmware, that kind of thing. And I believe this is like our thermal control system. It's actually controlling all of the switching and probing and temperature control and the actual execution. But Nick should correct me if I'm wrong. And then over here, I believe this is I was wondering what that was, like a manifold or something. I think that's actually our flow meter, interestingly. Some smart details, like I was noticing there's some really nice thick rubber above. I don't know if you can see that, but below as well. And on the other side of the case, so it's really serving to isolate the vibrations at this whole, you know, the vibratory pumps can be kind of annoying. The sound isn't awesome, but at least like it's reducing rattle on the case, which I think is a smart design choice. And I have to imagine there are other small details that like I, can't fully appreciate right now just because I'm moving fast and seeing it for the first time. Like I said, I tried getting this guy off, but between all of these really tight connections and clips, I thought it could just be a little annoying. Man, that was a lot to get it done. I don't think I can zoom this way, but yeah, like, it's open. It's fun. I took some pictures and have posted it onto the Espresso Aficionados Discord, and posted it on Reddit too, where there was people asking me about the Teardown. But I need coffee. Like I really am craving an espresso, and I'm like, that is definitely not ready to make espresso. So I'm gonna make soup. So I figured I'd brew with y'all. This must be a very attractive angle. Well, very tea-like because it was very fast. Let's get back to fixing that guy. So we are going to reassemble to the best of my memory. I go loop this in first. Sometime. This machine is slowly coming back together. Okay, I finally did it. Got the bottom plate back on. Everything is looking pretty darn good, from what I can tell. I need to give it a good wiping, of course. But we've got our main assembly back together here, we can start to put our accessories back and fully reassemble, and I will pull it back together to make a decaf. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys to see the inside and the disassembly process if you ever need to do it for yourself, especially for tightening this up. Now that I know it's not as bad as I would have thought, like if you did need to tighten this guy up, I think all you would have to do, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, is remove these two screws, pull this piece off, I believe, and then you've got access to underneath the group head. I don't think it's as complicated as it seems, but yeah, very cool to see. What an amazing feat of engineering. Let me just plug it back in so we have a satisfying end to the video. All right, guys, thanks so much.